I've just shared the screen. So just to confirm, maybe Joe or Lisa, can you guys confirm that the screen is come up, please?
Yeah, can see it all nice and clear.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, guys, so we've logged into RT Reporting here, and essentially the tool is an advisory solution, so you can work more with your clients in terms of setting out goals for the year, doing business plans, creating three-way forecasts with your clients, as well as producing management reports and dashboards to have more value-add conversations with your clients. And I think what a lot of our early adopters are really enjoying about the tool is that it's very user-friendly. It's very quick for you to be able to produce these insights. And it's also a lot more cost-effective than some of the apps as well, which we'll be able to expand on later on with the special offer that we're running to SBA. But yeah, so that's really the key benefits of the solution in terms of the user-friendliness, the speed, and as well as the sophistication that we'll get into now. The first thing to point out is when you log into RT Reporting, you're going to land on the organization's dashboard here. If you wanted to connect a client, you would just hover over the entity here, click on the plus button, connect to Xero, and choose the relevant entities you'd like to bring across. That's really the first key benefit of the solution compared to some of the older apps that you may have used in the past. Is the chart of accounts is all automatically set up, and the data will automatically sync with Xero every single night, ensuring that it's all up to date. So it's very minimal setup required, so you can really get cracking with building a forecast, producing insights for your clients in a very quick and easy way. The first thing that we're going to show you today is building out a forecast within RT Reporting. So essentially all you need to do is hover over, click on the tile forecasts. You have three options. So if you wanted to do a rapid create, that'll take the last 12 months of historicals projected out for the year ahead in a three-way forecast for the client. The tailored create allows you to customize the date range and the length of the forecast, as well as some key drivers. And the budget create we recommend is probably the best place to start, because essentially that takes last financial year projected out on the current year that you're in as the starting point, and provides some really great visualizations for you to show the client how they're tracking budget to actuals throughout the year. But yeah, what a lot of people love is it's very quick and easy. So just 2 clicks of the button using the rapid create here, and you have the three-way forecast generated. As you can see here, the chart of accounts is all automatically set up with the P&L and the balance sheet. And then the blue line here is tracking the bank balance. So you do get that full visibility on a three-way forecast with P&L, balance sheet, and then the cash flow implications. Brad's going to touch on a little bit of the features in a moment, but what a lot of people like is the user-friendliness of the tool. So you can type your assumptions directly within the cell for the forecast going forward. You can also type basic formulas in here. So we're really leveraging the best of both worlds between Excel and these web-based apps. What you'll notice here is as well as an audit trail. So you can always keep on track of which adjustments you've made to the forecast and explain that to the client. The real power in the forecast comes when you can toggle off and on accounts. You can add in new account lines as scenarios. And if we go into the settings cog, what a lot of people like is, say, for the rapid input, if you wanted to put fixed amounts in for the year ahead, or perhaps do percentage increases, say 10% improvement on last year. There's a lot of quick and easy ways that you can add in assumptions and not spend too long generating this three-way forecast for the client. The other options to be aware of is the relational input. So if you wanted to make marketing as a percentage of sales, wages as a percentage of sales, this is where you can link 2 accounts. And then in the configuration here, this really plays to the automation and the speed of the tool, is that the configuration is all automatically set up from Xero. So this account's subject to GST, whether it's a cash flow item, the income tax, as well as the Kiwi Saver. You can change these just by the toggling off and on of the button, but it is all automatically brought through from Xero. And the last thing I'll just touch on before Rad jumps in is the ability to spread the payable and receivable days just by a few clicks of the button is another great option that you have within this section here. But yeah, Rad, did you want to touch on a few features?
So I think that's a great summary.
we really do leverage the best of Excel, but you don't need to be an Excel whiz to use this. Tyler already showed you some of the key things, but you can also export it to PDF, export it to Excel. It's got full, well, he's already shown you the creditor and debtor days, so that all flows through into the cash flow automatically. You've also got balance sheet, finance, and capital expenditure that you can calculate using this. And what we do in case, because I know that using new products can be a little bit overwhelming, we always do a kickoff call with all of our new subscribers, and we always provide you with support, so that you can always give us a call, send us an email, or set up a call. We can even help you through your first couple of forecasts to make your life easier. But it is extremely quick, extremely powerful, and there's a few features that are going to be coming in the future, building on what is already a pretty powerful tool. But we're going to have loan calculators and scenario calculators, where you may say, for example, want to consider the implications of hiring a new employee, what that means for your PAYE, what that means for your bottom line. Maybe they're a salesperson, you want to see when they're going to start generating sales after X amount of months, or whatever it may be. So there's a few more calculators coming, but as I mentioned, we're always more than happy to step you through a forecast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's something I forgot to mention as well, is that right now you can implement things like loans or asset purchases and other key scenarios within the chart of accounts assumptions tab here. But like Rad mentioned, we're releasing 4 key scenario drivers that will reside in this corner, allowing you to quickly automate that process with a client if they are looking at purchasing a new asset or taking on a loan, and other key drivers to speed that process up. But yeah, like we said, you can type in any questions, but we will take any questions on at the end as well. What we might do now is head over to the goals section. This has been a really popular feature within RT reporting, and quite a unique feature of ours that we implemented last year. And essentially, this is a really useful tool to use on clients before building out the forecast, before having management reports, to sit down with that client and show them in a simplistic way with setting goals and what tweaking of a few key profitability drivers can do for their business, and ultimately helping them see the value that you can bring with these light touch advisory services. So it's a quick run through where you ask the client what the goals are that they have for the year ahead, what's the desired profit that they'd like to be making. The current situation automatically gets brought in from 0, and then you can show that client in a very simplistic way what a few small percentage improvements can do based on the key profitability drivers to the additional profits that can make for their business. You can adjust these individually as well, and it really helps that client focus on the upside and the value that the improvements can bring. Naturally, from there, they may start asking more questions. So then there's a list of recommendations here. You can remove the ones that are auto-generated. You can type in your own tips for that client. And it's a really great starting point or tool to use on introducing clients into the services that you may offer and how you can help them. From there, there's an action list. So you can type in and set up some accountability for that client of who's going to be doing what task before the next meeting. And the really exciting thing about the goal setting section is we have introduced an overall improvement section. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard of like the 7 ways model or the growth equation, but this is another way that you can alter the key drivers in terms of on a broader spectrum, like leads and conversions and other ways for the business to become more profitable and successful. The cool thing that we're developing out in the goals section is it's going to become your centralized place for where you can keep minutes of any meetings that you've had with clients. There'll be a notes section here, and with the action list, it really sets up that accountability to progress into further meetings and to keep some tabs on how that client's progressing against some of the action items that we've set. But yeah, we're constantly looking to improve this section. It's a great starting point. We'll also be putting in a business valuation tool in here very soon. And that's just another great way for you to add value and show the client some benefits that you can introduce to help them get a higher valuation in the future. But yeah, they're all the things that are coming. The last section we'll show you is the insights section. Essentially, this is where you can visualize all the data, both in a PDF report, management report for a client, or in a live dashboard, and you can invite the clients in. So let's say you had built a budget for a client. Very quickly, you can come to budget to actuals and visualize how the client's progressing on budget to actuals. You can do comparisons for each perspective. This is all auto-generated. So the key thing to think about is once you've built the forecast, everything else is immediate and visual. So your client can really grasp the numbers quickly, and you can have these conversations in a quick and scalable way with more of your clients. The other cool thing is that there's a theme that runs through the product of analyze and visualize. So some clients may want to analyze, visualize all the data. You can also analyze these budget to actual comparisons. So you can do changing the configuration. If you want to look at all the accounts, you want to include last year as well. There is some great customization that comes within the tool as well. That flows through for all of these insights. So if there was forecasts, perhaps you wanted to drill down and look at one cash flow forecast for the year ahead, you can very easily visualize. You can do comparisons against two scenarios. So I guess some of our users, they say that some of their clients are looking at taking on a loan or hiring new staff. So what this section allows you to do is get a visual comparison against two forecasts to do some what if scenario and sensitivity analysis to show the client what the best way forward may be. And yeah, there's a whole other range of insights. There's visualizations on the KPIs. We're going to be introducing a custom KPI calculator soon as well. And there's automatic descriptions that you can then adjust in any report that you create, and some really other great insights as well that we can go into further detail on a call, or you can check out in a trial account. But really, that's what we're trying to do with the solution is become your centralized advisory tool. So you can have the initial conversation, you can do a really great three-way forecast, and you can also provide these great insights via the dashboard, inviting clients in, or producing the management report that Brad's going to touch on now.
Exactly. And one thing just to note, just like the goal setting that Tyler showed you, you've got the ability to give feedback on the product. And those models that you saw in there were heavily influenced by some of our first early adopters. So when you do join, any feedback that you have or any feature that you'd like to see tweaked a little bit, we always take that on board when we're developing new features. What Tyler's just done there is just white labeled the product. So this is included for all of our premium users. You can upload your client's logos, you can upload your logo, and you can place them on top of your reports. And this is probably the newest feature. It's the reports section. It's a great feature because it allows you to give a really professional looking management report based on everything which is available within that insights section, and send it to your clients. The great thing is it's interactive. So all of these charts, you can toggle items on and off. You can edit the text in here. And once you're happy with it, you can then export it to PDF.
Exactly right. So like Brad mentioned, this was a recent feature release we've made, and now it's really kicking off a new sprint of adding in more reporting functionality, more customization. But it's really coming together, and part of this program that we had been running last year, being the early adopter program, a lot of the accounting practice have been able to influence the direction that we take with the tool. And now with it being full end-to-end of forecasting, goal setting, insights, as well as the management reports, it's a really exciting time to be coming in and taking a look at the tool and adding in any insights or specific recommendations or feedback that you'd like to see. I guess this was really the main sections that we wanted to show you today, but Brad's going to also touch on some of the roadmap of things that are coming. But we have had a couple of questions come in, and what I might just quickly do is also just let you guys know about the special offer that we wanted to make to SBA, and then we're going to take any questions. We also will send an email through with all of this information, as well as a link for you to create a trial account and to watch the recording again or book a one-to-one call with ourselves. But yeah, before we take on any questions, this is the special offer that we're making to SBA. So essentially, any branch who comes on board this month will be able to lock in this offer. And what it is you have two options. You can pay 150 NZD per month. This year we have had people paying from anywhere between $250 and $350 for this offer. Or alternatively, you can pay $1,200 per year. So that's a one-off payment for the annual subscription. And what that gives you access to is you can connect up to 50 organizations. You have an unlimited amount of users that can leverage the tool. You get the free white labeling included. You have the priority one-to-one support. So as Rad mentioned, we have a 1-hour kickoff call with any new people that join RT Reporting. And then you have direct access to both the founders, myself and Rad, as well as our team. And you also get the branded marketing collateral, and a really important feature for anyone here today that's seen some things you'd like to see within the tool is you do get to influence it and have your say in what features come next. So yeah, that's the special offer that we're running, either $150 per month or the $1,200 per year for the annual license. So it is a substantial saving that you would get if you were to come on board. But yeah, we might open up to the floor now for any questions that you guys may have. Just hang on one second, we have one here. Oh yeah, that's a great question. So right now within the forecasting section, there is a notes area. So you can always jot down any notes that you have. In addition to that though, we are going to be introducing an audit trail. So every time a user makes a change in a forecast, it'll be listed in there. That may be a little bit too much information for the bank sometimes, but it will help you to generate your summary, you know. So let's say you add a new loan, you could put that little bit of a few comments in here about that loan, what the interest rate is, what the term is, and that kind of thing. And then when you go to export this forecast, you have the option to include those notes. Options, you can look at it on a quarterly basis or year to date or whatever it may be, but you can also include the actuals if you want, and you can include those notes that you've made on the specific forecast. Definitely, that's a good question. Thanks for that one. Awesome. And anyone else have any other questions? Feel free to either write them in or you can go off mute and ask us as well. Awesome, guys. Well, I think if anyone does have any more questions to ask, you can always reply back to the email that we send across. And we are really grateful that you guys made the time today, and we'll shoot across the email that will outline everything. So the early adopter offer, as well as a recording and a link to book a one-to-one call and open up a trial account if you were keen to take further look. But yeah, really grateful for your time. And Brad, was there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
No, so really thankful for your time, and we're more than happy to hear from you and explain more about the product. I know it was pretty quick, and it is a technical thing, but we're always here to do another demo if you need it.
Awesome, guys.
Very good. Sorry, just a quick follow-up question. Yep, just in regards to the notes and assumptions. So I saw that you can do notes and assumptions, I guess, in the extra tab.
Mm-hmm.
But is there a way that we can include in the forecast report, you know, like a number one for sales, and then we can note down, you know, sales will increase by X, Y, and Z, or seasonality. Basically, that it just ties it back. So the notes and assumptions, we have revenue assumptions that is tied back to the revenue line items and things like that, just so it's nice and easy to see for the bank, because our main issue is the clarification that is required by the bank.
No, that's a really good question, Baz. Thanks for that. So just while we're all here, I can give you a little bit of insight into what's coming, because we already alluded to it. You're going to have even more customization in reports. You're going to have loan calculators. One of the other things that you're going to have is at an account level, when you make assumptions, let's say you insert a loan, it will record the specifics of that action that you've made on the forecast, and it'll generate a little audit note. Of course, you may not want that to be included in the printout, but if you do, you'll just have an option to click yes, and then it'll be available in the export forecast. If not, maybe private thing. You can keep it private, but that's
No, of course.
yeah.
And I guess a follow-up question is, when the assumptions, basically is GST treatment, you know, I saw that you can click what things are excluded, included.
Yeah.
But do we produce if you guys produce a cash flow forecast, would we put in there, for example, that GST is payable every 2 months and that will automatically reflect in the cash flow?
That's right. So it depends on what that organization is set up with in Xero. Let's say they're 2 monthly, then it'll be automatically on a 2 monthly basis. But under forecast settings, which we didn't really have a chance to go to, but in the forecast settings, you can also select whether that GST is on a cash or accrual basis, and also the terms, which in New Zealand, I believe, is 28 days. In Australia, you can do up to 8 weeks. So you can adjust that in there definitely, and then that'll flow through directly to the cash flow.
No, brilliant. Thank you for that.
No worries.
Awesome. And did anyone else have any questions or feedback, sections that you liked about the tool, or any other ideas that you'd like to see included? It's really a great time to take on this information because we are further improving the solution. Anyone else that had anything that they wanted to say about it?
I'll just jump in with a little bit of feedback, just to say that, yeah, you guys are incredibly supportive for something that's coming out. Like, for any of us who are using a new program, it's great to be able to have a support network behind it, and your answers, your questions that you come back with, your assistance to help with things. I am very grateful for your help and support on that. When learning a new program, it's always great to have that. So that's one thing that I'd just like to put forward to the team, to say that, you know, if you are learning this package, they are there to support, and it is, yeah, they are really great on it.
Awesome. No, thank you, Joe. And that does remind me of one thing is, like, we do the 1 hour kickoff call with anyone that comes on. We also have built out an online learning platform that goes over how to use the tool, that we're further improving and updating. But something else that we're introducing for anyone that hasn't really been doing much advisory services at the moment and wants to grow out this arm of the business is we are going to be creating an industry best practices in terms of how to grow the advisory services or how to get more uptake. So that will be part of the learning module, and it's really leveraging on all of the feedback we've had from guys, experts within this space that have come on board, and all the feedback from our early adopters to put together a basic training on what's worked for them. So things like the high level valuation is a great introduction to work with that client, or some other training options around the goals section to get more buy-in on the client side. Obviously, there's so many use cases for a tool like this. It could be for a loan application, it could be for scenario analysis, or it could be management reporting and adding more value to that client. But the support is a big part of all of that, and we're definitely here to help any early adopter that comes in.
That's right.
Sorry, guys, I have one more question, which might be relevant to the group. Now, in the interest of covering our ass, we always have a disclaimer page before any forecast saying, you know, that we're not responsible for any of the numbers, blah, blah, blah. Is there any way to insert it in the report that's generated PDF before sending out just a general disclaimer?
That's a really good question. So right now, this you've got the report generation. We didn't step you through the process because you've got every option under the sun. It gets a little bit overwhelming on a call sometimes, because of, not that it's complicated, but just it's a bit of a process to select everything. But soon you're going to have the ability to make boilerplate pages that you can then insert. So an example would be a disclaimer. Another one that a lot of accountants use is like a definitions page, or some high-level accounting principles that they include in every report. And that is going to be available soon.
Yeah, and you can also include your disclaimer at the bottom of each page. There's an option to add in notes as well, where you could just paste that in for the time being before the templated disclaimers it becomes as an option. But yeah, definitely you can include that both on the forecast PDFs as well as the management reports that you see here. Okay, so someone's just asked, so maybe Joe, Lisa, or Julie, or whoever else that are users of the tool, they've said, how long does it take to complete a forecast using the RT tool? Does anyone want to jump in there and answer that question there?
Yeah, I will. I'll just, well, the few that we've done, no word of lie. If your zero is good, because obviously, you know, the old story, crap in, crap out. If your zero is good and you've got a you know, good coding, you can quite easily whip this out under an hour, realistically, to a good draft, you know. And but the pushing of the buttons, it's the depending on how many line items, how many general ledger accounts they've got, but less than an hour to get something that's good, rock solid. So you could run the gauntlet and just let it suck across and it looks impressive, but to actually go in, the time takes to actually analyze and make sure it's reading the right way. But yeah. Really quick.
Awesome.
Definitely, completely agree.
Yeah, and that's really good feedback, and it's generally what people said. We had another early adopter last week, and they said something really interesting. They said the tool is great because you could spend 5 minutes in spinning up a rapid create, and like Lisa just touched on there, it looks very visual and great, but you could also spend an hour in here with all the sophistication and adding in all the assumptions and making this a really detailed three-way forecast. So a lot of the strategy that people have done is they say RT reporting is great because it is quick, it is very scalable. We can use this on 80% of our customer base where we want to provide them some value add and some visualizations to spin it up. And then for some of the other clients, maybe you will spend more time in here and get more granular. So it could vary. Some of them, it could be very quick for a quick budget. Others could be a longer period of time. But yeah, that's really good responses there. I think that's the general consensus of our users. But what was
notice Miles has asked about when they don't have a zero. That was one of my questions too, as we haven't had any to date. But if they don't have zero, how do we get it into here? That's a good question.
Really good question, and that leads well into the roadmap aspect. So at present, you do need to be connected in Xero. Two things that we're going to be releasing before mid-year though are blank organizations. So this might be a startup that doesn't even exist, and in that case, you'll be able to create a completely blank organization with a standard set of accounts. The other one is CSV Upload, so you'll be able to just maybe if they've got an existing, maybe they're with MyOb at the moment, or maybe they can get their hands on an CSV export maybe of the data from Xero, then you'll be able to just upload it via CSV and then proceed.
I might have to jump in and say something because it's probably easier than by chat. So probably 90% of the forecasts I do are for people buying businesses. So like I said, but I guess what we could do is set up a Xero and set up conversion balances and then bring it into this tool. And would that still be okay?
Yeah, definitely. That is a workaround.
Only got one set of data to pull from. Is the only problem.
Yeah, that'd be the best workaround in the meantime. Yeah, and then like Brad said, when we get to the middle of the year, you'll have that ability to bring in the trial balance if they're on MyOb. But yeah, that's definitely the best workaround, is to create it within Xero to bring the data in.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, no, thanks for that question, Miles.
No worries.
Just on the speed of the forecast, one thing I don't think we mentioned last, just right here at the end, we really make your life as easy as possible. So the creating a forecast, like, it's a very user-friendly tool, but it always takes a little bit of time depending on the sophistication of the forecast. But everything is set up, like, and Tyler mentioned at the beginning, the chart of accounts, but every night at midnight New Zealand time, it also fetches all your latest journals. So you don't have to worry about any of this pre-work. You basically just go straight in, and all that time, there's not 10 minutes setting everything up. It's all spent on the forecast.
That's a good point. And some people said to us last year they were using older tools, maybe tools like Spotlight or other ones where you did have to map the accounts. So the setup of the forecast is instantaneous, and then, as Lisa said, then the actual execution of the forecast, then it's still quite rapid, within an hour. And people have said maybe it takes in Excel. Maybe some people do it very quickly, others take a couple of hours. So there's definitely the biggest thing about the tool is probably the time that it'll save people to scale this out. But But yeah, this has been really great feedback. Did anyone else have any last points or questions that they wanted to make?
I just got one more, if you don't mind. In the forecast tool, if, for example, is there a possibility when you import from Xero to group certain accounts, or basically from the general ledger? For example, we might have shareholder drawings, we might have, you know, private use of motor vehicle, etc. All individual items on the balance sheet that we just want to group as to one shareholder current account. But, you know, in the Xero's ledger, we might have thousands of codes, which we don't want individually displayed in the forecast.
That's right. Yeah, no, that's a really good point, guys. Thanks for that. So at present, we don't have grouping of accounts, but just to be totally upfront, right now we're about to release our multi-user access, and we've got some report enhancements. And then the next major focus for the next until the middle of the year is on the forecast, and that includes leveraging our Xero tracking codes and also doing grouping of accounts. You can see, obviously, your chart of accounts are always available in the organization settings section, and in here you'll be able to group those, and so that you won't see so much clutter within the forecast. That's a really good question.
Cool, thank you, guys.
No worries.
Awesome. All right, guys. Any other last points? It's really good to have these questions come in, but if not, we will send across an email for anyone to have any one-to-one calls or fire back an email with any questions they may have. But yeah, it's been really great to run you guys through this. And yeah, last questions before we let you guys go. Awesome. Doesn't seem like it. So yeah, thanks a lot for your time today, guys. We'll get onto the email outlining everything, and we really appreciate you making the time today, and we hope to hear from you all soon. And yeah, hope you have a great day today. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Yeah.
See ya.
Cheers, Lisa.
Thanks
Bye.
a lot. See you later.